Greetings. Welcome to Relationships with Intention. We are so happy that you have joined us. I am your host, Shijuan. Do us a favor. Please like, share, follow, and engage throughout today's session. I am so excited about my special guest on this evening. I have with me Prophetess Tylonda Lavelle. Prophetess Tylonda Lavelle was born in the city of Chicago. She is a member of Rivers of Living Water Ministries International under the leadership of her parents, Apostle Stephen and Prophetess Yolanda Gardner, on the west side of Chicago. She serves alongside her parents and siblings in ministry as an ordained prophet, young adult leader, and active member of the Women of the Word Women's Ministry. Prophetess Tylonda is married to her amazing husband, Nathaniel Lavelle, a God-loving, educated, powerful, intellectual, very gifted man of many talents, whom she shares two forceful yet gorgeous children with. Tylonda has a passion to preach the truth found in the Word of God. She lives with a passion for reformation to be seen in every facet of society, in the lives of people, the church, and the earth. She believes in fulfilling her commission to set captives free and to preach an unadulterated truth. While she is called to the church, she has a passion that reaches to the world. She loves to preach the truth. She believes in assimilating herself amongst the masses, being an extension of Christ to others. Tylonda enjoys writing, reading books, social science, and is currently studying clinical psychology to further enhance her desire to ensure humanity is set free. Tylonda also provides mentorship and sound wisdom to young women. She carries a pure, fiery passion to merge generations to advance the kingdom of God. She has a righteous burden for deliverance because of the deliverance she received, and she commits her life to this ministry. She is also the creator of Lethal Beauty, which is a message to women that we have a balanced call to fulfill the work of the Lord while exemplifying his beauty to the world, no matter if our calling is to ministry, the seven mountains, or both. Tylonda's heart cry is to encourage you to live your life with reckless abandon, to exalt Christ in every outlet you have been afforded to infiltrate, because now more than ever, your strength and posture in Christ is needed in our world. Welcome to Relationships with Intention. Prophetess Tylonda, how are you?
I am doing well on this Sunday night. I am excited for this discussion. I think everyone enjoys a little bit of relationship talk, so this is exciting for me as a young woman who has been married for 3 years now with two babies that happened fast. But
Yes.
we thank God it happened during COVID. So okay. So I
Yes,
am so
very
I am so
understandable.
excited. So I am very excited for this conversation tonight. Thank you for having me.
Amen. You are so welcome. Thanks for being on tonight.
Yes. Mhm.
So, I am going to get things started with my very first question.
Okay. Mhm.
And because I remember a little bit of your history. So, could you talk to us regarding your journey to where you are now?
Yes. Okay. I must say that it has been extremely helpful just to have sober voices in my life, the sober voices that were in my life. So I am afforded to have both of my parents that, um, were constantly talking to me as it related to relationships. So whether you have parents or people who really just care about you and care enough about you to even tell you the truth about um, men that you're
Mm.
dating, or I don't know if there are any men that are joining us, or women that you're dating or courting,
Mhm.
and they have the liberty to tell you the truth. I mean, listen to those voices and that wisdom, those eyes that are seeing things that we may not see because we're so caught up in the rapture of love. And the journey had been quite an interesting one. I had at one point thought that this life was not for me. And so
Mm.
my parents thought otherwise. And there were other, people around me as well who believed otherwise and they knew otherwise. And I can remember there was a point where I had said, I don't want to be married. Okay. I want to just serve
Wow.
Jesus for the rest of my life and just, be without, intimacy and all of those things. And my father was like, yep, you're hurt. You got your
Yes.
heart broke. You're
Mhm.
talking from that place. And then I
Mhm.
had come across a passage in the Bible, I'll have to get it for you, where it talks about if a daughter makes an oath, how her father can like go into the spirit realm, or like literally snatch the words out of the atmosphere. So if she makes an oath and makes a covenant
Mm.
that she really shouldn't be making, but probably made from a place of hurt like me, or something that's just totally illegal, the father has the ability to snatch those words out and really hinder that thing from coming to pass. And so that was part of my journey. And there were some men that my father ran away. And there were
Mm.
people that were coming to me and telling me, like, no, not this one, not that one, because I thought that the man for me at one point was supposed to look a certain way. And I mean, it was through the voices of wisdom and even me taking the time to sit with that wisdom, taking, those words before God and saying, okay, Lord, who do you really have for me? What does he look like? Is he supposed to look like this? I don't want to get ahead of myself in the conversation, so I'll dive into what I thought he was supposed to look like. Or, what do you have for me? And then I had a dream and I was like, okay. And so it was a dream. It was actually a list. I know we hear about the list sometimes that we
Mhm.
make. I tore the
Yes.
list up because I didn't want to be confined to the list. But then when I circled back around, I saw, oh, I was early in my 20s and I was like, he is actually everything on this list. I was truly and had to be inspired by the Holy Spirit to write that list of what I wanted, because
Wow.
what I was dating didn't look like him. Okay. So I think my spirit was like, in the future, you're going to recognize this is what you've always wanted. So we'll come back to this when you're ready and when he was ready. So my journey has been a good one. I count it all joy.
Wait a minute, Prophetess Thailandum. You're gonna have to get me that scripture where you can go back
Yes.
and cancel
Mm-hmm.
out those
Yeah.
things that children
Mm-hmm.
say, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
due to lack of knowledge, so that
Yeah.
I can place that on my page. But also,
Mm-hmm.
out of hurt, you decided, nope, I don't want another relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then you created this list,
Mm-hmm.
and then you were like, nope, I'm not gonna go by the list.
Yeah. Yeah. The list was created like way before I think I actually was starting to court and date. It was an activity that our ministry was, one of the prophets in our church. We were having like girl talk one day, and she had said this was something that she had done. So she kind of inspired all the other young ladies. Oh, a list. Okay, well, hey, let me write a list. Let me just see what I come up with as I, sit on the floor in my room before God, and let's
Mm.
see what I do. And there was a list. I created a list. Yeah.
Hmm. And so
Hmm.
after you created the list, you tore it up only
I
to
tore it
find
up.
out.
It was about, whew, I can't even tell you how many years later it was, but I remember tearing up the list because I was actually dating someone at the time who didn't look like the list. So I was like, oh, well, you know, maybe this is the one. So the list, yeah, threw it out, tore it up, threw it away. And it wasn't until my husband and I started courting one another that I could see some of what I had written on the list. I could see in my mind, like, I have a photogenic or photographic memory, and I could see
Mhm.
some of the things that I had put down, and I was like, "Oh wow! I wish I had the whole list, but that's okay. I can remember some of the things that I put." And yeah, he's everything. Hmm.
Wow. That's
Yes.
absolutely amazing. So that kind of
Hmm.
ties into my next question for you.
Hmm.
Did
Hmm.
you manifest your husband? Did you go through the praying and the affirmations and things like that?
I will say yes. Oh God. I I finally gotten to the place where I knew what I wanted and what I didn't want anymore. I didn't want the drama. I didn't want all this baggage. I didn't want the games. Okay, I wasn't interested in that. And most importantly, a man that would just treat me right and would understand me in totality, from my natural hair that I wear all the way to my personality type, being what my father so eloquently called me, an alpha female, which was like cringing at first, like, no, what is that? Until I really got an understanding. It's not, well, for me at least, it's not the woman that's real brash and, I'm just this, I'm kicking doors down type of person. No, I'm
Mm-hmm.
really about my business. I do have a strong personality. I grew up with
Mm-hmm.
brothers and I'm older than them. So I naturally have that strong authoritative nature. And then my father helped, my mother too, helped mold and shape that. But just someone that would truly understand me, understand all my ways, understand, my mind, and be able to um stimulate me, mentally, not be so caught up in, okay, sex, sex and all that stuff
Yes.
wasn't something that
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I can't wait to, oh, I got the hots
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. No,
Mm-hmm.
I really just wanted someone that was just good for me, good for my children, good for my posterity, good for my bloodline. And I wanted to be
Ooh,
the
come
same
on.
thing for him. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So that intellectual stimulation was very key as well.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And because I'm a multifaceted woman. Okay. I love,
Mm.
my parents helped me with this, but I love to learn. There's a quote that I love. It's the author of it is unknown, but like it says, all of life consists of constant education. So you're constantly learning things. My parents are like that. My mother's that way. My father's that way. We're
Mm-hmm.
constantly learning new things. You don't just
Mm-hmm.
get, settled with this or think that you know it all. No, learn new things. Go explore a cave that's, in Missouri that's seems like you're getting ready to touch the center of the earth, and go learn some things, gather some artifacts. I love that stuff. I mean, I love learning about what's happening in this nation and that nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just full of knowledge, learning things. My husband is the same way. And I can just sit in front of him and just listen to him talk because he is so full of knowledge. So, someone that likes learning just like I do, is a little bit nerdy, just like me. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I got it.
That's
I got it.
that's so good. Where did you
Hmm.
meet your husband, prophetess?
So my husband and I have known each other since I was 10
Mhm.
and he was 11. And I love to hear him talk about this because he told me once we reconnected with one another that he told his mom, and his mom attests to this. She actually said, yes, it's true. Um, we connected with each other via my father and my father's spiritual mother, who we actually went to see today because her birthday was yesterday. I think my dad said she's 90 years old, coming up on 90.
Wow.
So she is like the bridge that connected us. So my
Mhm.
father was her spiritual son. And so we would go visit her church in the northern part of Illinois. And I remember setting my eyes on him as a young girl. And I was like, man, I like light-skinned boys. And so I'm like,
Mhm.
I thought he was so cute, at the time. And so my father said he would see us, sharing looks at each other during service. So I'd be sitting on the front row looking at him playing the drums. And he'd look at me and be all bashful and stuff. It was so cute. And my dad was like, yeah, I used to see you all doing that. And I was like, why did you see that? Okay. But he was 10 and I was 11. And so we hadn't seen so the only time we would see one another was when we would go visit his church. And so I didn't see him that often. And we probably didn't see each other after the age of 13 or so in person, I want to say. Um,
Mhm.
so we lost touch with each other, but then when Facebook came around, we were like friends on Facebook, and he was trying to get to me on Facebook. He would send me messages, and I was like, no, I didn't know him. I knew at one point, he called himself being a bad boy. So I was like, well, I don't have time for that. And I would see him on social media as well, and I could see that he worked out a lot, and women were attracted to that, and it seemed like he liked it. So I was like, well, I definitely don't want to have anything to do with that. Okay, because I'm not going to be dealing with this one, that one, all types of lasciviousness and lewdness and that and her with you because of you. So I don't have time for it.
Mhm.
No, thank you. Okay.
Mhm.
And but he would reach out to me, and I was just like, no, I think if you're not the kind of guy that I want. And I turned him down and rejected him a few times. He was persistent though, so it wasn't until 2019 when he had come to visit our church, and he had come for one of our conferences that we were having. And my mom noticed him before I did. No, actually, I noticed him, but he looked very nice from what I could see. I just couldn't see his
Mhm.
face. So he was
Mhm.
intentional with what he was doing by keeping his
Mhm.
face hidden. So I'm looking at him as I'm sitting on the front row. It's tithes and offering time during the service, and I see this very tall gentleman and nice physique, and I'm like, oh, and he's dressed nicely. I'm looking at his walk because your walk is going to tell me if you're a man of God or not, and I'll be able to see if you really walk with the Lord. So I'm looking at your
Wow.
walk. Oh, you walk
Mhm.
good. Okay, so you walk
Mhm.
with Jesus. I can see that. Okay, the dress nicely, real clean cut. Okay. And I'm trying to see his face, and he drops, his offering. So I'm watching him, and I couldn't see his face. He had his face turned. So I'm like, what is going on here? Okay. All right. You don't want me to see his face. Well, so I'm minding my business, sitting on the front row, and I could see my mother in my peripheral view, and she's like kind of leaned over. And I turned my head to look at her, like, what is she doing? And she's mouthing to me, is that so and so? And I'm like, is that who? And she's like, is that somebody? I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. So during
Mhm.
tithes and offerings, she gets up and walks over to me. Is that Nathaniel? And I'm like, Nathaniel who? Because there was a Nathaniel that was stalking me at one point. I don't know his last name, so it could be any Nathaniel, but he was
Mhm.
kind of saying I was his wife. And I'm like, I know you're not talking about that one who said I was his wife. Like, we're not going to do that. I'm not into the clownery. Okay. She goes,
Mhm.
no, not him, the one you knew since you were a child. And I'm like,
Yes.
where? Because where is he at? She goes,
Mhm.
him. Okay, so she points to who I was looking at, and I'm like, no, that's not him. She was like, yes, it is. Okay, let's see. So she's standing in front of me. I'm turned around to see him. His back is to us. He turns around, and I go, oh my God. She goes,
Oh, wow.
I'm like, she's like, yeah. I was like, whoa. Oh, he grew up. He looks nice. Like that man looks really good. Jesus.
Wow.
Oh
Mm.
my. Like when I first saw you, I
Mhm.
said, oh my. Okay. Wow. He
Wow.
looked really nice. I said, he has
Mhm.
really grown up. Like this is really different than what I had seen on Facebook. Like I kind of lost touch with him on Facebook as well. So I was like, yeah, he looks different. Okay. And so we connected then. It was March of 2019. And I remember talking to him, and I'm hearing things, and I'm like, no. I don't know yet, Jesus. Like I'm talking to him and I'm just lost in his gaze. And I'm like, yeah, nobody can get me like this, where I'm lost in your gaze talking to you. Like you're looking at me intensely. And yeah, it
Mm,
wasn't lustful. It wasn't like I want to eat you up and gobble you up. It wasn't anything like that. It was
mm-hmm.
the most purest,
Wow.
softest gaze. And I'm just like, time is standing still. It did, because I don't
Wow.
know who was next to me. I knew who was next to me at first, but everybody wasn't there. And I'm like, it's just me and him. Oh,
Yes,
oh,
yes.
oh, Adonai, you must be doing something here.
Come
So
on. Come
yeah,
on.
and so we connected. It's a whole, I don't know if you have what 2 extra minutes for that, but just how
Mm-hmm.
we started talking to each other. We when he left, he was going back to another state, so I didn't exchange phone
Mm-hmm.
numbers with him or anything, but I just knew, like, I can't get this man off of my mind. So I had talked to my
Wow.
mom and I literally was like, God, if it's meant for me to even talk about him, you will do this spontaneous, miraculous thing with my mother. Like, you will send my mother to me.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yes,
mother
and she
came
will
to
tell
me.
you.
She came to me that night. No joke. My mother
Wow.
was like, I said, hold on, Holy Spirit. Like, and I said, Mom, I got to talk to you about something. And she was like, what? And I was like, it's nothing bad.
Mm,
She said, okay, okay. So I'm like, no. I said, it's okay, I'm gonna just say it. It's Nathaniel. Like, I can't get him off my mind. She said, I wanted to talk to you about him. I said,
wow.
oh. So we
Wow.
began to talk. We talked for over an hour. And I told her, like, when I go back into the history, I could see that he had been trying to get to me probably for over 8 years. It had to be like
Oh
well over
my.
8 years. He had been trying to pursue me. So my mother was like, listen, we're not letting this opportunity
I know that's right.
miss you.
That's
I
right.
This is what you need to do, daughter. Okay, a
Mm,
Ruth and Naomi moment. This is what you need to do. So I was like, but what if he's with a woman and I don't. I'm like, I've never had to pursue a guy like that in that, sense where I go to him and say, hey, she said, do it. I'll message them. Hey, next time you're in Chicago, can we go out for some food or something? I'm bold. So I'm like, hey, what are you talking about? You're not afraid. Let's do this. And, something like that. And he was like, hey, absolutely. He had messaged me a month before and I totally missed it. He messaged me in February before he came to see me in March. So I think he was trying to establish something with me. I missed it,
mm-hmm.
but I saw the message. And so I was like, he said, yeah, I would, he would like to go out with me and, have some coffee or whatever, some food. And then he hit me with the, by the way, you're my wife. And I was like, threw my phone, like, I
Oh,
know, yeah, I did. I threw my phone, like, I was like, your
wait a
wife.
minute. Wait a
Mm-hmm,
minute. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Couple things. First, you said that he was persistent and intentional. So
He
those
was.
are two
Yeah.
very important characteristics, lady. I wanted to just
Mm-hmm,
highlight that. But
absolutely.
you also dropped a gem. You said that you could
Mm-hmm,
tell by the way he walked whether he was
mm-hmm,
godly or not. So
mm-hmm,
for the ladies who don't know about that, could
mm-hmm,
you explain what you mean by that?
mm-hmm. Well, I will say this too. I am a seer prophet, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
really sharp with
Mm-hmm.
my ability to see things and to discern just by way of sight. But it
Mm-hmm.
was his posture, the way that he carried himself. I could identify that just by looking at him. It was the neatness in the way that he dressed, and it was the uprightness, and it was just the his movements. I was like, this man knows God. I could just see he's a man that walks with the Lord. And then I
Yes.
found out, like, yeah, he does. He really does love the Lord. So it was just something
Wow.
that I was able to identify just in that moment, just glancing at him, the way that he really was carrying himself. Because there were other, something else that I had looked at too during the conference that particular day. He did ask me, was I going to eat lunch? And so I wanted to spy on him a little bit. And I told him, yeah, but I was going to go in the back office. And I watched him, eating lunch. I had peeked into the cafeteria. So I was looking at him and he was eating by himself. I think he was reading something, but he was sitting there alone, content. And I said, I like that. He's content in his own space. He's obviously comfortable. Whatever he's looking at or he's reading, he's lost and he's engaged in that. That's a good thing. But he can sit by
Mm,
himself and he's content. And I'm like, yeah, this is a man. This is a man
mhm.
here. Like I'm looking at you and I can just see, yeah,
Wow.
you really do spend time with the Lord, just
Wow.
like I saw you when you were walking. So now I'm looking at you sitting by yourself. You're reading, you're eating, and you are content. I like to see this. I like to see it.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, these are some really good nuggets, prophetess. And,
mhm.
and then you said that prophetess Yolanda encouraged
Mhm.
you to ask him the next time
Mhm.
he's in Chicago, let's go out
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
lunch or dinner.
Yes.
And I that's what I call positioning yourself.
Yes.
I love it. I
Oh
love
yeah.
it. I
Yes.
love it. And
Mhm.
during that time, he said to you, "You're my wife."
Mhm. Yes. I have the messages in Messenger. Like I can show you that he
Mm-hmm.
said that he told me that. And I did. I literally threw my phone. It wasn't like, oh, he said I'm his wife and oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going with that. I was like, what? Okay, we'll see. And
Mm,
I believe that's what I said to him. We'll see. We'll see about that because I'm not I'm not head over heels. I'm pacing myself and I'm gonna move with God, on this because I've stepped ahead of God plenty of times before. And so I have
mhm.
learned to move in synchronization with the Lord and not get ahead of him, but be within his timing and his season for my life.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Mhm.
Was there different feelings that you had from a previous relationship compared to your husband this
Mhm.
time around?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like an inner knowing or something?
Hmm. Absolutely. Um, yeah, there was an inner knowing, and I know my family members knew as well, that
Mm,
my husband was my husband. My grandmother, who had never met him, um, saw him. She said when he came into the church, she told me this later, for the conference. She was out in the hallway at the resource table, and she
mm,
said when she saw him, she looked and she was like, "He would be good for my granddaughter." And I said, "You said that, Grandma?" She said, "Yeah." When I saw him, she said, I was like, "Oh yeah, he would be good for her." So all these other women that are standing around here looking at him, you might as well quit because he getting ready to
right.
get with my granddaughter. And I was like,
Yes.
"Wow." My grandmother had never met him. I hadn't even had a
Mm,
chance to talk to my grandmother about him, just some of my history with him as kids when we were kids. And
mm-hmm.
she knew nothing about him, nothing. But she saw him and was like, "Yeah, I think that's a good fit for my granddaughter." She must have seen him, watched him a little bit, too. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, that's it." And so, um, yeah, even, him in a position of worshiping God, I was able to look at him in the hallway with someone I call my aunt. She's in ministry with us. And even she was like, "Come here." I was in the hallway at the time getting ready to go back into the service. And she's giving me this look where I know she's going to say something. And I'm like, "What?" And she was like, "Who is he?" And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"That's someone I know from my childhood." And she said, I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "He likes you." And I said, "Well, how do you know that? He just showed
Mm-hmm.
up here at the church. Like, you don't know that." She goes, "No. Mm-mm. The way that you all were engaging and how he was like gazing into you as you all were talking," she said,
Mm-hmm.
"No, he's all in." I said, "You think
Wow.
so?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, we liked each other as kids." And so I said, "I don't know if he's in a
Mm-hmm.
different place now." And she said, "Nah, he likes you." I said,
Mm-hmm. This is
"Okay."
different.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
it was very much different. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think he let me know that too, if I recall. He was telling me, "You got a man now, okay?" Because he was able
Mm-hmm.
to see who I had who I had
Mm-hmm.
dated previously, and he was like
Mm-hmm.
watching. He was watching. He had seen who I was with, and he was not pleased. He was like, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you if you were with me, you wouldn't have had to go through this and that and that and the other." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have had to deal with that, but you went through it.
Yes.
I'm here. I'm here
Yes.
now." So like, okay,
Amen.
yes,
Amen.
mhm,
Amen. That's
mhm,
awesome.
yes.
Is married life what you thought it would be, prophetess?
That's a good question. I would say yes and no. Yes, because I understand, and I had an good understanding of all of the things where two are becoming one, and different things that you will hear as an unmarried young lady, the examples that I had before me with my
Mm-hmm.
parents and other couples as well. So I will say, like, all of the good things that pertain to marriage, I was expecting that. I knew that was included in being married. Okay, all that coming togetherness, that companionship, the intimacy, the ability to come together, build together, grow together. A teammate, a partner, some pillow talk sessions that you have with one another. That the
Mm.
courting phase comes to an end, so now it's married life, and we can
Yes.
see each other all day, every day until we're tired of each other. So all of the good stuff, yes, I expected. I knew there would be those complexities as well. Um, but I did not know what the complexities would look like because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've never been married before. My husband has never been married before either. So it was truly, and it still is, a journey,
Mm-hmm.
a learning, ever learning experience when it comes to those not so happy days, those working through
Mm.
indifferences, because we are
Yes.
not exactly alike. We just aren't. And so I would say my response, and I can say his response too, um, I didn't know what to expect really for myself, because you can have it in your mind, okay, when problems arise, okay, I am by nature a solutionist, right? I like
Mm.
to solve problems, and most of the time women are like that too. We're fixers, we see a
Mm-hmm.
problem, we want to solve it, this is
Right.
wrong, okay, we want to fix it, we want to correct it. And so that's me. So now getting married to a man who will sometimes need to put a pause on it, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and let me collect myself, let me gather myself, where I have been used to, well, let's talk about it, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
I can, this is a solution, and boom, I'm ready for the solution. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
mm-mm. Oh,
Right.
not all the time. And then I learned, oh, there
Mm-hmm.
are days when I don't want to be the solution either. Oh, how about that?
Mm.
See, the
Right.
solution. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness. Oh, this is real. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so oh, it got real. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow. So sometimes everything that you think, or sometimes you may have in your mind, like, it will go this way or it's going to go one way. I mean, just having that understanding and that flexibility, and maybe just debunking that too, like, it can totally go a different way. And I don't mean a totally bad, um, calamitous way, like it's just pure calamity. No. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you may sometimes get tired, again, like I said, of being the solutionist all the time, or always having the solution to the problem. You may get tired of that. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like doing that today. I'm not going to have the solution. I don't want to be the solution. I don't want to come up with the solution. I don't want to do anything. Actually, my solution is just closing my mouth right now. Whereas he may
Wow.
be like, oh, well, let's talk about it. Not, mm-mm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the solution right now. So
Yes.
you get
Yes.
to really see. I mean, I've heard it for years. Like, marriage will really show you who you are, and it will bring out
Exactly.
the real. you, or just that stuff that you thought maybe was gone, or it isn't anymore. Oh yeah, there will be some
Mm-hmm.
testing days.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So yes, it was everything that I hoped it would be. And then no, there were some things that I did not expect with the two becoming one, and our personalities, and um just trying to build that synergy and that oneness, more so around, the indifferences, and learning how to really work on those for the whole of the marriage, just for the health and vitality of our marriage as well.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to jump to the next question, and it
Mm-hmm.
says, how are you balancing the married life, being a mommy, working, and ministry?
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. I have so graciously been able to step back, ministry wise, just because I did have two babies back to back. So my daughters are
Mhm.
18 months apart. And so my father was like, hey, don't even worry about, certain things. Just get those babies, together. And also for myself, I needed to really heal. So I had a really um, interesting situation take place at the beginning of the year when I
Mhm.
had my second baby. And so,
Mhm.
in brief, I have yet to fully testify about it, but it is coming. I almost lost my life. We were out of state, so for our annual Fire on the Altar conference, and so right in the middle of the conference, I had this medical emergency while pregnant with my baby. So I had to have her early in Florida. So she's a Floridian. um,
Yes.
she was born. Yes. So we stayed down there for almost 3 months. And so I'm also, I'm doing much better now. So I had to go through a healing process as well. So I had to take a step back just to be
Mm.
come whole again, and just to heal, and to ready my mind to really balance all that I am now, which was such a blessing, because when I was away, I did have time to really look at my life. I was away from my
Mm.
family in another state. I was with my grandmother and my baby, and my family would come and visit me while I was away. But I really did have time to look at um, all of who I am, because it's important to do so, just to take some time to really get a vision and insight for yourself, where you're going, what you want to do. Really allow yourself to hear the voice of the Lord. And so I'm a mother of two girls now. I'm a wife. Okay, I'm an
Mhm.
ordained prophet. There's a whole gamut of things that I have been created to do. And I say this stuff humbly, that I have been created to do. So, Father, I'm going to need to be able
Yes.
to balance all of this well without feeling the burnout here and feeling the burnout there. And so I did have also the best examples before me, which are my parents. I mean, Jesus, like, you talk about some people that, you know, I've seen it before me. My father and my mother, I mean, worked, and my father will tell you, like, he worked in a warehouse, and he would work, what did he say, 13 days on, 1 day off? So literally almost 2 weeks in a row, he's working these crazy hours, supplying for our family for 2 weeks in a row without a break. That is commitment. That's perseverance. That's relentlessness. And so it's in me. It's in my DNA. But
Yes.
also I had the time to really say, this is who I am. And I was okay with saying, I can't do this right now because I need to really strategize and plan this out. I'm going to have to come up with
Mm.
a plan as it relates to my daughters and what I'm going to do with them, what this looks like for them. Okay. And then I started to implement things back onto my plate one by one. As I was talking to you earlier about lethal beauty, I was saying, like, I'm coming back
Mhm.
around to this because I did have to put this on hold. When I was away and that happened, I mean, my commitment was going to see my baby in the NICU, pumping breast
Mhm.
milk for her, And I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
was really putting in work where they were giving me praises like, we haven't seen a mom do it like this. And with all that you have going on, they were telling me, you are producing all of this breast milk for your baby. They were like, you were doing amazing. Like, you are
Yeah.
phenomenal. And so
Yes.
I was like, thank
Mm.
you. Thank you. So much
Mm-hmm.
stuff is going on. And so I'm coming back around where I'm adding more things, back onto my plate. And even sitting with you tonight was one of those things. I said, I can add
Mm-hmm.
this onto my plate. I have the ability to do this now. Oh, I can bring this along now. Yep, let's do that. Okay, I can add this here too. So
Mm-hmm.
just being strategic and calculated about what steps I'm going to take, having a plan, having a vision, saying by this time I want to be doing this again. By that time I want to be able to do that again. Even something like personal ministry, ministering to others on the altar. For a period of time, I just wasn't able to do that. Why? I got to
Mm-hmm.
tend to my babies. I got to tend to my children. I told someone like I don't have a problem with the Lord telling me if I needed to sit down for 2 years, let's just say 2 years, and just serve your family. I have no problem doing that. I'm going to obey him
Mm.
because I know in time I'll be able to add these things back onto my plate. And I have been able to get back into the flow of things in ministry, leading the young adult ministry. And there's another initiative that I lead in the ministry as well. And just being active again. So just again, having that goal, having that vision, having my movements be calculated and say, okay, I'm going to be strategic. I can add this on right now, or I cannot. That has to hold on a second until I can
Mm-hmm.
assimilate into this position in this role, doing what I am doing. I can commit to this, and then I can add more on and see if I can have a balanced weight here. I don't want one like this,
Right.
one like that. I want to be able to
Mm-hmm.
balance all of this well and manage it, steward it well.
Mm-hmm. So,
Hmm.
prophetess, in that balancing, might
Hmm.
there be a time where you have to, if you're adding something to, you have to take
Hmm.
something, you have to take away in another area? I just want to
Hmm.
make sure people are understanding that.
Like when it comes to the babies, the husband, and all of
Mhm.
that. I mean, I that's a non-negotiable here. Ministry,
Mhm.
that too. But I have the ability, because I have the honor of being able to talk with my parents, and if they say don't worry about this, then I have the okay from them. Okay, we're not going to worry about ministry things right now. I can get back to that in time. Let me just learn how to balance mommy life right now. And I
Mhm.
did. I committed time to this. Like, okay, I'm going to balance these two little girls who, wear me out most days, but I want to be able to commit to being mommy, learn who I am
Mhm.
as mommy to them, this 1 year old who's almost two, and this 9 month old who's
Mhm.
almost
Right.
10 months old. What will my relationship be like with them? I don't want to be so
Mhm.
ministry minded that I can't nurture my babies. I couldn't wait to have children. So they're here. So I'm all in. And that's what I want to be. I want to be all in when it comes to my roles and my functions and my duties. Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely. So mhm,
Oh, that's so good. That is so good.
mhm,
That's going to help a lot of people.
yes.
So, what is mommy life like for you?
Oh my God. And then I have two girls.
Hmm.
Yeah. I grew up with my brothers. Okay. All right.
Hmm.
There were no other women in the house except my mother
Hmm.
and I. But I count it all joy. I do. I
Hmm.
love my babies. I love these
Hmm.
girls. I see so much of myself in them, so much of my husband in them. My 1 year old is like a combination of him and I, but she has such a free spirit, but also such a
Hmm.
commanding presence as well. And I have, my parents in our ears, my husband and I's ears, helping us, coaching us, where they need to, jump in and say what they need to say to us. But
Hmm.
I have to say, I'm loving it. It is a stretch and it is a challenge. I mean, sometimes, they wake up if I wake up at 4 a.m. Um, that was the other thing I didn't include in the last question you had asked me, like even getting back to waking up early, because I was like, I am not getting up early. No, I need to get all of the sleep that I can, and just now, I could get up at, 4 a.m. and I may have a little bit of time to myself. And sometimes the baby is stirring, so she's up with me, but then my 1-year-old will be up at 6 o'clock. And I'm like, what are you doing up at 6 o'clock in the morning? Like, isn't that early, for you? So they steal my time, and instead of me being like, oh God, it's just like, all right, come on, whatever it is that I'm doing, you can be a part of it too. One of my big sisters, in the spirit, my spiritual sister, I remember her telling me that her daughter was doing devotions with her. So I was like, you know what? Come on over here, Justice. And Justice wants to mess with the Bible pages. She just tore the cover off my Bible. I count it all joy.
Oh,
And
wow. This is
we sing
beautiful.
together. We sing together. And so even in the challenges, I like challenges. I mean, challenges
Wow.
sharpen us. They really test us. And so I'm one of those test me, try me, prove me, refine me, God. I need it. Obviously, I need it. So this is a challenge. These little humans, this is a challenge. Motherhood, the selflessness that I have to give to my babies. I have my husband, my children. No one comes before them except God. So I give myself to them, and they are going to make me give myself to them, these little girls, because they need me. And so I said, I might as well count it all joy. I might as well
Wow.
count it all joy and
Mm.
accept this challenge, accept it. I
Yes.
challenge, accept it, and just go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and get that wisdom. Allow the Lord to lead me. And if I need help, okay, I'll pull on help, from my parents if I'm dealing with something. But I've learned a lot, from my parents and just watching how they parented my brothers and I. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was ready for this. These beautiful girls. I was ready for it.
Yes. I love that. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
the young women who watch this, they're going to love to hear that advice. So in
Yes.
those challenges, we're being purified.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Wow.
absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. These little children will show you things. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
hear about, childlike faith,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, man, talk about just having no need to worry about anything, not even tomorrow. These girls don't know anything about what tomorrow brings. They're
Mm-hmm.
so reliant upon me and their father, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that we're going to provide for them. So I'm like, God, this is bringing me right back to you. I have no
Yes.
need to worry. There's so many biblical lessons that can be learned in raising these
Mm-hmm.
children, and if we can see on a daily basis from the
Mm.
joy that they exude, um, just the carefreeness that they exude. I mean, just the innocence that they have. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking it all, and I'm learning as I'm teaching. So it's
Yes.
beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Prophetess, the
Mm-hmm.
holidays are upon us.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you decide whose family you spend the holidays with? Prophetess is on here, by the way.
My mother, you mean my mother is on
Yeah.
here? Hi,
Uh-huh.
mom. So I, that is funny. Oh man, because not everyone has the ability to have for there to be peace around this subject and this topic, because I can recall, I think initially there was a little bit of tension regarding like whose house we're going to be over, because I do have my aunt who loves for everyone to be at her house. And we love to be at auntie's house. But I'm like, if my husband says we going this way, I'm going that way.
Mm.
My mother
Wow.
told me, you go with your husband. Okay. You
Mm.
don't sit here and be like, well, I'll see you when you come over here this way to Auntie house. Okay, you enjoy. Absolutely not.
Mm,
Uh-uh. Where you lead,
wow.
I will follow. Where you lead, I
Hmm.
will follow. So I was with him. I remember a few Thanksgivings ago, maybe two Thanksgiving, had to be two because we only been married 3 years. We were supposed to make it to my aunt's house. We went to his relative's house, my in-laws'
Hmm.
house first, and we were supposed to go to my aunt's house. And so we just got caught up, talking. I was pregnant with Justice, my first daughter at the time. So we got caught up talking. Everyone's talking. My husband had hopped on the piano and we were just having, a good time. It was just a few of us, and I was
Hmm.
able to sit and talk with him, and we just had the conversation. So my husband was like, whoa, look
Hmm.
at the time. I didn't, mean for us to go, this far over the time here. Um, did you still want to go to your aunt's house? And I was like, no, no. I said, it's okay. My aunt will understand. I've been communicating with her. I already told her my family was there with her. And I said, I already talked to her and told her we're here. I'm here. I'm here, present
Hmm.
with you.
Hmm.
It's all
Hmm.
good. It's all
Hmm.
good, baby. I'm well fed. I'm pregnant, eating for two.
Hmm.
I'm fed really
Hmm.
well. So
Yes,
all is
yes.
well. All is
I
well. So
love
it
it.
wasn't a big deal. I wasn't mad. Like,
Hmm.
we were supposed to go over her house and you kept me here all this time and this, that, and the other. I mean, no,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
he has taken, even when he lived, because I even thought about, when we were recording, when he came back to Illinois, he moved back to Illinois and he was living quite a distance from me. I mean, he would
Hmm.
come in the middle of the week on Wednesday nights when we would have Bible study just to sit next to me for Bible
Wow.
study on a Wednesday night when he has a long drive back home and had to go to work in the morning. So I remember when. So how dare I really think I'm going to put up a fight because we're at the in-laws? I mean, you got to be selfless. You have
Hmm.
to be
Hmm.
understanding. You have to be
Hmm.
willing to go with your husband, be together, let the family see
Hmm.
you together. That is one thing that
Hmm.
I know our families need to see. They want to see us together. They want to see us thriving together, moving in sync
Yes.
with one another. They want to see that. They need to see that. We need to do that. So it wasn't, I didn't second
Mm.
guess. My mom will have to correct me if I second guessed it. But when
Hmm.
she was like, you go where your husband goes. Yes,
Hmm.
ma'am.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
going with my husband.
Hmm.
If anyone doesn't understand that, that's not my problem, whether you
That's
understand or
not
not.
your
I'm his
problem.
wife. I am his wife. So I
Hmm.
move with him. Hmm.
Hmm. Such
Yeah.
profound wisdom.
Hmm. And
My.
he would do the same again, and he would do
Hmm.
the same. So it's not just, oh, him, you just doing, you're a yes woman. No, he will tell you I'm not a yes woman. But
Hmm.
no, not in the least bit am I a yes woman. I'm a very strong-willed woman. He will tell you, but I will listen to my husband, and I have submitted myself to him, and he submitted himself to me too. So if we're
Hmm.
going to my aunt's house, we're going to my aunt's house. If we're doing this day, we're doing that day. Let's talk about it. Okay, I'm okay with doing that. Let's do it. So much peace in that. So much peace.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
I'm going to skip
Hmm.
around, prophetess, with these questions
Okay.
because I know the time is at hand. The
Hmm.
next question I'm going to ask you is, what does Proverbs 14:1 mean to you?
That's the wise woman builds her house, right?
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
foolish woman tears it down. I had a very good translation of this on my screen. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yep. This is in the amplified version. The wise woman builds her house on a godly. I'm sorry. The wise woman builds her house on a foundation of godly precepts, and her household thrives. But the foolish
Hmm.
one who lacks spiritual insight tears it down with her own hands by ignoring godly principles. Okay,
Hmm. Wow.
so to me, a wise woman builds her house. And ironically, it was one day last week, I was up early in the morning. And I remember how in Proverbs it talks about the woman that rises early in the morning. And I was like,
Hmm.
I'm really embodying this now. I have children. I have a husband. I remember reading Proverbs 31 through and through. And so this is my reality now. And um, I was thinking, I was pondering on that. And so this wise woman that builds her house um, on a foundation of godly precepts, in her household thrives. Um, Godliness, being like God, being a woman after God's heart, just like David was a man after God's heart, being a woman after God's heart. That means I need to implement his ways through and through in this home, because the foundation of this home should be built on godly precepts so that my household thrives, because I have the understanding that my husband has the capacity to be this way too, but I'm like a barometer or a
Mm-hmm.
thermometer. I have the ability to create a climate in this place, or create a certain atmosphere in this home, because I'm reading this in the word. It's telling me that if I'm wise, then my household will thrive. So if I'm foolish, then lacking spiritual insight, I will tear it down with my own hands. So I really don't have time for this. This is the word of God, so I need to abide by it. We call ourselves women of God, men of God. Okay, if we're going to be of God, we need to be of his word. We need to be of his commandments to us, and we need to
Mm-hmm.
abide by those things. And so
Mm-hmm.
to me, it means following the word. And even when flesh doesn't feel like it, even when it's in those moments where, you know, I don't want to be foolish, Lord, but I feel like he's done something foolish. What does the word say? Even when
Mm.
my husband will tell you this, he will tell you that there have been moments of indifference between us. And this to me coincides with the scripture.
Mhm.
I still serve him. I will still cook food for him. I won't serve it to him here, take your food.
Right.
No, can
Mhm.
I get you this? Would you like something to drink? Would you like this, or would you like that? Because I wanted to make it a habit of being a wise woman that builds her home. He is part of my home. My children are part of my home. They are seeing
Ooh.
what I am doing. I have girls, I have daughters. So how mama acts, they will act. How I entreat my husband, how I engage with him, they will do the same. When my daughter sees me loving on my husband, hugging him, she will stand back and watch. She's all
Mhm.
over her dad. She's all
Mhm.
over her dad
Mhm.
now. I mean, she's all
Mhm.
on his head. She's climbing all over him. She's loving on him. She is seeing what I am doing. So, I
Yes.
mean, there are eyes that are watching me. I have to be wise in my building, in my
Mhm.
home, because these little eyes are watching me. Most importantly, God sees it. I'm going to honor my
Yes.
husband no matter what, and he knows it. He can attest to that. He can tell you, no, she will still serve me. She will still do for me, even if it's
Mhm.
a moment of indifference, because I refuse to be a woman that's going to tear it tear tear down, this foundation that we are built upon Christ. I mean, come on, Christ is our firm foundation. I can't tear that up
Mhm.
anyway. So I'm
Right.
not gonna foolishly, you know,
Oh my
try to tear
gosh.
some stuff up or tear some stuff down where I'm talking down to my husband, or even being this a loose-lipped woman. I'm telling him,
Mhm.
degrading him and all this other stuff. My father
Right.
would tell me, he used to tell me as a young woman, no, that is one thing that you do not do when it comes to a man, and a man shouldn't do that to you either, because grievous words, they stir up anger, and you don't want to do that. But it's the soft answer that turns away wrath. Is it always soft all the time? No, but I've desired and learned to work on that. So working on the soft answer,
Mhm.
knowing that this too is a way to build our home, again, creating this climate that we want in our home, this synergy that we want in our home, in our marriage, with one another. I am not going to be a woman that lacks spiritual insight for nothing. I read too much. I can understand what the word says too much. The foolish one, she tears it down with her own hands by ignoring godly principles. That's
Mhm,
not me at
mhm.
all. That is not even
Yes,
my
yes.
nature. So just
Ooh.
learning how to go against the nature that we truly could possess because we're not seeing things the way that we want to see them. No, God, I take you at your word. I am going to continue to
Mhm.
build my home, continue to build in my marriage. My daughter's trying to get on the live with us. Excuse me,
Yes.
honey.
Hi.
Like, I want to see this. I see somebody on there I
Yes,
want to be
yes.
a part. And just the refusal to be a foolish woman. And so even outside of marriage, those attributes and different things can be spoken of us as women if we are this way, lacking wisdom and just being foolish. So even in singlehood and not being married, looking at this scripture, look at the scriptures, look at what the word is telling us how to be. The word is telling us how to be, along with moments like this, and along with YouTube videos, and people talking about different things and that. So scripture also tells us these things as well: how to build your home, what a foolish woman does. And so again, it was just I refuse to be that way. I'm not going
Mhm.
to you know be this kind of woman that's going to be like a continual dripping faucet. My husband has told me when I was like that. And so, we hit a patch where I was, and I'm like, I'm not that woman. That's not me.
Mhm.
That's not me. I'm a
Amen.
calm, I'm a collected woman. And so, Father, I'm going to get my face in this good book. These are your instructions and your commandments to me. And so be it. No matter what this man is doing, I know he will align himself eventually. So let me go ahead
Mhm.
and get in position, because what I am
Mm.
doing can also draw this man right on into where he is supposed to be. Because there's nothing like a woman that can arrest the attention of the man and
Oh.
arrest his mind and get him to a place where he will be submissive to the will that God has for his life pertaining to you. So, oh, absolutely.
Mm.
We as women are powerful beings, and so we
Mhm.
have had the ability to make kings fall and even commit murder. So you better believe that we are powerful women. That
Ooh.
was ungodly, by the way. We don't do things like that,
Mhm.
but we
Mhm.
are powerful in just knowing the power that God has given us, that we possess, that God given power that he's given us, in knowing how we can truly reach the heart of our husbands, reach the heart of this man.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm going to wrap up with two questions. There's some
Okay.
questions I omitted, but we can always come back and do another live another time.
Mm-hmm.
But for the
Mm-hmm.
people who are online, Prophetess has dropped some gems on this evening. Please
Mm-hmm.
share this live because we want to get this information out to young people, young women. We just want to help and
Mm-hmm.
show them healthy ways to do things. So, again, please share this live. So, my next question is about Lethal Beauty. Tell me how
Mm-hmm.
you came up with that name, and then about Lethal Beauty.
Absolutely. So I came up with Lethal Beauty via a conversation with an old friend of mine some time ago, and they said to me, "You're lethal," and I was like, Mm. Okay, when I hear lethal, I think of lethal injection, so I don't want to be
Mhm,
that. And just in my
mhm,
humor, I was like, I don't, I
mhm,
don't know about that. And they were like, no, no, no. Listen, just the power that you possess. Like once you really move into your destiny and really who God has called you to be, man,
yes,
you were no joke. You are going to be someone to really
yes.
be messed with. And so I took that
Mhm,
humbly, humbly. And it's not about, oh, I'm coming out, they're gonna see me, they're gonna hear me, rah, rah, rah. Nah, no. Humility is the
mhm,
way. And so I was like, okay, I get that. So I was like, well, let me look up lethal, okay? Because I want to get an understanding of what lethal means. And I was like, all right, okay, I'm not deadly. No, definitely not that. Definitely, a force to be reckoned with. Okay. And so I said, okay, I can see that. Powerful, very strong. Yes, all of those things are attributes that I possess. And then I was
mhm.
like, yeah. And so I could
Wow.
remember once upon a time I had took a picture of myself. It was some time ago, and I used to really love taking selfies and posting pictures and of myself when I was younger because I just love to. I used to model a long time ago, so that was
Mm-hmm.
part of that whole um,
Mm-hmm.
thing that I love to do. And I had taken a picture, and I, you know, just heard the Lord like, "Your beauty will draw men." Your beauty will draw men to you, but what you are to do with that beauty is to draw them to me. Okay. So
Wow.
it's not so much that, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
drawing men to me. Oh, they're, so caught up in, my looks and this, that, and the other. God was like, you use that beauty to evangelize. Okay. That's what
Mm-hmm.
you use that. Bring them to me. They will come to know me because they, see you. And because guys would do that. They'd see me, they want to talk to me. All I have for you is Jesus. I have nothing else for you except Jesus because I know you're not my husband. And it's ain't even that type of
Mm-hmm.
situation back then. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I had heard the Lord say that your beauty may draw them, but you are, to lead them to me, I said, okay, I got it. So it literally was just came together like lethal beauty. And I said, well, and I have toiled with it. I had toiled with it for so long. Like, what is this supposed to be? Okay, I got this name. What am I supposed to do with this? Lethal beauty. Nah, is it supposed to be a conference? Nah. Is it
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be or some organization? I said, I don't know, Jesus. What are you saying? And it wasn't until just recently that I heard him say, it's so what I'm going to be doing with this is I'm going to create apparel and it's going to be lethal beauty apparel, but it's a message to women. So it's for the women who are in positions of authority. We all are in positions of authority. We are being
Mm-hmm.
authoritative and we're leading in some type of way, some type of position, but it's a woman who understands who she is and everything that she has.
Mm-hmm.
It is for the purpose. It's for the
Mm-hmm.
purpose. It's to exalt Christ. All of it
Mm-hmm.
centers right back, points to him. And so it's for that woman who may be the CEO, the executive, may have be an entrepreneur, may be a preacher, maybe the full-time mom, maybe, the woman
Mm.
who does anything, everything, but she understands the balance of being able to carry all of this stuff that I do, but also knowing how to carry myself as a woman as well. So, not only
Mm.
possessing this exterior beauty, but this internal beauty as well, allowing yourself to go through this beautification process. So, it's a message that I am working on to really cultivate, I will say. So,
Mhm,
creating apparel and like other things, I want hats, I
mhm,
want not just t shirts, I want some really nice shirts with lethal
mhm,
beauty on it. And it's a woman of God who is in that position of authority, nothing to play with, will tear the kingdom of hell down, but also
wow.
dominates in
Mhm,
her spheres of influence. You dominate here, not with the attitude that, I'm dominating, I'm queen bee, I am against queen bee divas, all that stuff in the kingdom. I'm not for that type of stuff, but how to be a lady, how to be a classy lady, but one full of authority, how to be a powerful woman, but one that's also graceful and poised. And so that's what lethal beauty is. And so I was like, well, you know what? That'll be something nice that women can wear,
mhm,
as apparel, real nice
mhm,
button ups or something. So it's a vision that is starting to come to pass. So I said, well, let me create, the Instagram page for it. And then I will continue to build this out because, again, it was just recently that I finally got what I'm supposed to be doing with Lethal Beauty. I'm
mhm,
like, oh my
mhm,
God, Jesus, it's here. What am I doing with this? And so it's a message. Again, it's a message for women. You can balance all that you've been given. God will give you the grace to balance it all. There's a balance between your authority and the beauty that you possess, knowing how to be that well balanced woman of God, a woman after God's heart who is taking care of
mm.
her business, but at the same time is beautiful in all her ways.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm,
amazing.
mhm. Yes.
Amazing. I love it.
Mhm,
I love it. I love it. So make
mhm.
sure you all follow Prophetess Thailand on her Instagram page. I had other questions, but I'm gonna stop there because she's just given us a lot, just a wealth of
Mhm.
knowledge on this evening. Make sure you go
Mhm.
back and listen to the replay, and then also for those gems that really stand out to you, put them in the comment box so that other people can see those as well. Please join me on next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have an author on, and she's going to be talking about her book, Dating After 50. So you don't want to
So
miss
good.
it. Before we close, Prophetess Thailand, is there anything that God has placed on your heart to share with the people, or?
Mhm. Okay. So I don't, again, if there are guys, if there are women that are on the live, truly, because I understand that this has always been like a somewhat touchy subject, and people have so
Mhm.
many questions. Things can go this way, things can go that way. But just understanding this truth, I was telling someone that um, live work by season. There's a season, there's a for everything for her. And the best you can do is really so other regarding this and I know that you in protect relationships and just know is it my season and knowing how to be patient. Go ahead and do your work. Go ahead and work your fields. Go ahead, work your job. Go ahead, travel, all of the other things that you have time to do as you are waiting. Wait, have that expectation and just understand God is work. He works through timing and seasons. And so I will come into that season of marriage when it is time for me to. I don't want to move ahead of God. I don't want to step outside of his bounds. This he may be wanting me to be still right now. He may want me to just wait on him and just acquiring that ability to patiently wait on the Lord and know that he will bring you the desire of your heart. Truly, I am a living testament of that. I'll say this and I'll be done. I had told someone that I was so bold with it that I told the Lord,
Mhm.
because after I had just gotten exhausted with relationships, I was like, God, I will wait 10 years if that's what it takes for me to be in a position where I wait on you. I will wait 10 years. I said, I can't
Mhm.
believe I just said that. And I started weeping after I said it because I was like, you know what? My friends are going to get married. They're probably going to have kids too. I might be in a lot of weddings before my own. But you know what, God, I'll wait on you. And it didn't take 10
Mhm.
years. It may have been a year or two after I said that I got married to my husband. And so I just made up in my mind. You make up in your mind, God, I will wait for my season. My season of marriage will be upon me. The bride will meet her groom, and I can't wait until that moment, but I won't step ahead of you. I will wait for you. So be encouraged.
Be encouraged. Wow.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Prophetess. Thank you all
Absolutely.
for joining us on this evening. And I look forward to connecting with you all next Sunday. Have a fabulous, fabulous week ahead of you. God bless you. Bye bye.